Al Benza, my roommate. Danny Carnevale.
Yeah.
No, this might have been 52. Okay, wait a minute. There's Al Taylor. It could be.
Were you there at the beginning of the
Yes.
season?
At the beginning, and then they sent me out about a month in July. They sent me out in July.
I bet that's probably when you were not there.
Yeah, there's Waitucky.
What do you remember about these guys?
They're a good bunch of guys. I remember we had some pitchers that threw strikes. And we caught the ball, and we had some pretty good hitters. I don't see George Alusic here.
You know, it's interestingly enough, having won the batting title, but I think there was a system where he just barely got enough at bats.
Yeah, but I don't see him in this picture.
Could be.
Because he hit 380.
Right.
So he went to the big leagues.
What do you recall? What do you remember about Danny Carnevale?
Well, I mean, he was young.
Yeah.
He just quit playing. He was a big prospect with the Phillies, a shortstop. And hurt his back and had to quit. So he managed, but he won every place he managed. Yeah. He was a playing manager for a while, but he didn't play here. Later on in Buffalo, he was scouting for the Indians, so I got the chance to see him again. We talked a lot. He came to a lot of ball games. And no, Danny was great. He was great.
This was your first year, right? First professional year?
And I signed with the Tigers to start with.
Do you remember who your scout was?
Yeah, Louis D'Annunzio.
Okay.
He worked at the Ford plant in River Rouge, and he scouted in the part-time. Yeah.
What was it that you showed him that made him interested in you?
I have no idea. I mean, I had a good arm, and I threw well. I was 18 years old, and tall and lanky and projectable, and I guess I went down. Didn't really have a tryout, but I threw for the Tigers. Schoolboy Rowe was there, and then they took me up to the office, my mother and I signed a contract. Got a little bit of money. Of course, I could have probably got more, but we didn't know any better. That's great, give it to me.
Yeah.
But no, it was a lot different then. It's not like it is now. There were no agents.
Right.
Well, no, we came here in May.
May? Okay.
Season opened in May.
Okay.
So we stayed in Florida a little longer, which was good because pitchers are going 9 innings down there, and when we got up here, there was no pitch counts and stuff like that. I mean, it was great. It was great, exciting. I remember opening night. I remember pitching a ball game here against Buffalo. Exhibition game, AAA ball club.
Yeah.
And Schoolboy Rowe, I went the first 6, and Schoolboy Rowe went the last 3.
Wow.
And I was, 18 then?
Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty good to pitch against a AAA club.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, it was an interesting year, my first year. It really was. The Pony League was Pennsylvania, Ontario, and New York. So it was Wellsville and Olean and Batavia and Jamestown, St. Catharines, Hamilton, Ontario, and Bradford, Pennsylvania, a couple teams like that. But they're pretty good, all in the area. It was easy to travel, so that was good.
Carnevale always told the story that your team, 1953, won its first 16 games right out of the box, and then lost one, and he was mad as hell, screaming and yelling. Do you recall any of that?
Well, I find that hard to believe, and I'll tell you why. I was in a rotation, and I was 1 and 2.
Yeah. Oh, is that right?
So I don't know how he won. If he won 16 in a row, then I must have been 3 and 0. And if I was 3 and 0, I wouldn't have been shipped out.
That's right.
So they sent me out to Jackson, Mississippi. And I think it's kind of sad that there's not more bios on people to show these kids. I have kids right here. Ask me, did I pitch?
Yeah.
They asked me if I was right or left-hander, or did I ever play in the big leagues? Or have you always coached here? I mean, they are so far removed from what baseball's all about.
Right.
Ask them who Babe Ruth is. Most of them probably don't even know. You know,
Right.
Barry Bonds. Yeah, that's as far back as their memory will go.
Was there a guy named Jerry Klein? Was he around?
Jerry Klein was our bus driver.
Was he?
He was always smoked a cigar, and he drove a bunch of us from Detroit. We just signed. He drove us all down to Florida, met us over there, and drove us to Florida. And he was a character.
Yeah.
He was a character.
Do you remember anything unique about Jerry?
He used to sing a lot, make up songs and stuff. But, you know, he just, part of the team, really, is what he was.
Yeah.
You know. But he was, everybody in the organization knew him. You know, he was like a fixture in the Tiger
What do you
organization.
remember about George?
They called him the Slovakian slugger.
Is that right?
He was hitting 400 for a while, right-hand hitter.
Yeah.
And he later went to the big leagues with Kansas City. I tell you what, he had he reminded me of Joe DiMaggio so much, the way he ran and kind of glided through everything. Of course, I mean, that's a big stretch, but still, he was a good hitter. He could hit.
What about Bob Shaw?
Crazy.
Crazy, that's I've heard that.
He was crazy, but a good guy, great guy. In fact, when he got here, that's when I left.
Mm-hmm.
He might have been here a week or two, and then I left.
What was crazy about him?
How to just do things, you know. He wasn't afraid to do things, you know, to make everybody relax, or, you know, just crazy.
Now, I noted here the guy named Gabby Waitaki, who you had mentioned, and Kenny Walters. Were those guys also noteworthy at that time on your team?
Well, Gabby, this was his second year when I got here.
Okay.
He was kind of like the old pro. He was from Michigan. And Kenny Walters, he was from California. He and I were pretty good friends when he was here, but he later got to the big leagues, with the Phillies. I think Gabby got as high as AA.
One last question. What was your highlight?
My highlight, I think, was 1964, when I appeared in 94 games out of the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
And the amazing part of that was my record was 17-11, all out of the bullpen.
Wow. Kind of the Elroy face of the...
Well, I threw 140 innings,
Jeez.
and that's quite a bit,
Absolutely.
you know. But I enjoyed it. I loved it. I loved it.
And I bet you remember the first game you won as a major leaguer.
Yeah, I do. It was against the New York Mets, as a matter of fact.
Did you call home?
No, we didn't. No, we didn't have phones.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, your hotel phone.
Yeah.
No.